I'm going to start off with you, Daniel. And there's always a story. So, Steve, you'll get a bit more chance to pick this up because this is the one without a question without notice. How did you get into parking? Because everyone obviously grows up wanting to be a fireman or a policeman. How did you get into parking? There's always a story.
Yeah, I was working stupid hours in hospitality as a general manager of nightclubs, and found this awesome little ad online that was for a branch manager at Andrews Airport Parking. I'm like, how fucking hard could that be? Fucking cars come in, pay for your parking, out they go again. Should be nice and easy. And it was something that was more Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, I thought, at the time. And you know, the owner himself, who's based down here in Melbourne, Andrew Shanahan, was like, mate, it'll be easy. It's only 500 bays in this car park. We're doing off air, just some buses, couple of staff members, no problem. The only problem was that we grew from 500 bays to 2 sites, 2,500 bays, 24/7 operations with the airport, just absolutely out of control. So, yeah, I fell into it. It was more just to get out of the working nightclub hours. My wife was basically telling me that you never see me, you're getting up when I'm going to bed, and it was just that sort of bits and pieces, and it just went around.
And the good people get out, so you and I are still
We're
stuck
still in it,
it.
unfortunately.
So, Steve, what about you? You obviously, James was sort of looking for someone to help him out for a while. He'd sort of made a couple of steps in that inroad, and he needed some help, obviously, helping take the business to the next level. How did that come about?
I guess mine's a little bit different, where I weren't looking for a change in roles or anything like that. My background's to come out of the facility management industry, and someone actually rang me up, a bit of a headhunting to come and join the parking industry, and I guess my first initial reaction was completely not interested at all. You know, it was a little bit like security. Car parking was something that was not of any interest. I spoke to one of the guys who was a previous manager of mine, a bit of a mentor, and we had a bit of a chat, and he said, well, have a think about it. You're delivering a service to customers, you're dealing with clients, you've got staff, you're driving a business, which was basically exactly what I was doing in the facilities management industry, working for large companies. This was an opportunity to actually work for a smaller organisation, a family-run private business, and I guess that was probably the interesting part of it that I saw, that I went and had a chat to James and found out what his strategy was, and his strategy was to look at the business and see where he could actually take the business from where it was today. He had a lot of ideas. James still has a lot of ideas. For those people that know James, he's got a lot of ideas, a lot of challenges that he sees within the industry. He's got a lot of solutions to a lot of those problems that he's trying to fix, and I guess his passion is extremely clear to me, and I'm actually providing him with a little bit of the business support and background, and really enjoying that we've actually sort of, you know, taken the business from where it was 12, 15 months ago, where we're actually sort of getting some rubber on the road and some traction in some wins and some development out there in the marketplace, and developing greater relationships. I think that was sort of something that was in there in the background, where we got pigeonholed a little bit with being centric to only one organisation that we were dealing with, and I think that we're actually seeing that we're actually dealing with you know, a lot of people as an operator. So we're not an equipment supplier, we actually deal with everyone within the industry. So from my point of view, that's where I got into it, and it's been great. I'm a parking industry convert.
Yeah, well, you're a good person, so you might be out quickly. But you talked about collaboration. I might just pitch on that point, because it's obviously a really key part of what we value at BB Park 2 is that collaboration, working with multiple vendors, multiple operators. How are you seeing that in the Ace Parking business? Because obviously, Dan, you'll have a different model at the moment.
So for us, we actually need and rely on our customers, or our clients, as we call the clients, not the end customer, so our clients. But more importantly, we actually need the support of our suppliers, and that is what we see as our collaboration, that we can go to the market. We get asked to tender, we get asked by clients to come and provide them with a solution that's specific to their needs. And whilst there's a lot of companies out there that we can choose and work with, and everyone's got their own slight differences between their products. You know, boom gates still go up and boom gates still go down, but everyone's got slightly different back-end configurations and things like that that may suit the requirements of different customers. So we actually try and come up with the best solution that's going to deliver the right thing for the customer. But we need the support of everyone that we're working with. So
You'll be best mates with all the suppliers later on. Daniel, you've got a different model, and has that been out of choice?
Yeah, it has been. And when you're talking about the collaboration part of it, I think that was more going down the lines with the parkades and the Ubi parks, because we wanted that one solution that we knew how to run to the best of our ability, because we didn't want to be all so reliant on our suppliers. You know, so there's a lot of things that we do within the Ubi park stuff. No, not saying we do it always right. We have to get you guys to come in and fix it up. And the same thing with Parkade as well. But for us, it was more about, we had a vision, and that vision was to try and disrupt the industry. And to be able to do that, we needed to be able to have that one type of equipment, especially at the start, because we are so new and we're still, you know, only 3-4 years old, or 4 years old now. So to be able to roll something out in an industry where it is a change, and what we're doing is trying to disrupt it, it was more around having something that everyone knew exactly that was our difference and that was our point of difference.
You are got different commercial models. I mean, you're obviously doing only leases at the moment.
Yeah, correct.
And unless something changed overnight. And Steve, you're taking on, you know, managed sites where maybe the equipment's already made, there's already a decision, and you're forced to sort of use what's there.
Exactly right, and that's been the case at a couple of our sites that we've just taken over, and we've taken over the operations of the existing equipment suppliers. And our control room is learning very quickly at times as to how to come up with how to operate those systems, but it's something that that we've done quite well, and that's the model that we've actually got in place at the moment.
We've been talking about AI. I'll start on AI. We've been talking about AI and data today. Steve, I'll start with you. What are you seeing, and are you using any AI in your business at the moment? Are you actually making some decisions around that?
We are. We're sort of seeing that the uptake on, you know, the use of LPR is probably the first foray that everyone's moving into the AI space. We're using a lot of it in the background, or we're trying to come up with how we can better take all of our old knowledge that we've got in there and turning that into, you know, AI availability. You know, the amount of times, you know, I'm only new to the company and things like that, I try and search for stuff on our internal files, and I'll be buggered if I can find anything. Even our knowledge centre, which is supposed to be, you know, the source of truth of all the information, to find stuff on there is horrendous, and you've got to do keyword searches and things like that. So we're looking to see how we can utilise that in that space. At a, you know, where I see that we're also able to use some of it is going to be in our control room, a lot of the repeatable stuff that we do on a regular basis. So even the stuff that is managed through our intercoms and things like that, you know, there's no reason that shouldn't be something that we're looking for AI to be able to take over all those repeatable services. So that's an area that we're looking at. How we're going to get there over the next little while is going to be challenging, and I think there's a lot of it to do with about the data that we've either got at an internal company level or more at an industry level that is data that needs to be shared.
Very good. Daniel, what are you seeing?
We're probably using AI more around our revenue systems we specify, probably more so. Yes, the LPRs with our suppliers, you know, with the learnings, but especially with our revenue sort of systems and our predictive futures. Now, look, it's probably not real AI yet. It's probably just more data-driven examples moving forward. But what we're starting to trial now with some things we specify that we're just putting in some trials at the moment is looking at different data that it can scrape and bring in, i.e. event data. If there's an event on at Marvel Stadium, is our car park that close to it, do we normally see spikes in that? Now, if we do see spikes in our revenue, then if it knows that there's future events coming on, then we can sort of predict what's happening for those days and events as well, from a occupancy point of view, revenue point of view, staffing point of view as well, just to make sure that we've got those things in place ready for it in the future. So I think there's a lot that's going to definitely help us into the future. I think the scariest part is we've got to be open to it, and I think that's what we've sort of taken out of everything today. But I'm also really scared about it at the same time from a data point of view. Like, there's data that I don't want to get out into the universe, like our lease data, our revenue data. There's things there that can actually really hurt us if that got out into the wrong hands. So AI, yes, it's going to be great, but it's still I still think we're only just scratching the surface, and around the cybersecurity things, that's probably where we need to be a little bit more really focusing it at the moment from our side, and that's what we're looking at.
Maybe, we're starting to use it in business things, so we do use ChatGPT to help with tender responses and make that more efficient, probably make sure I don't spell anything wrong like I normally do.
Well, that's the other problem, is it's all in American. I don't know how to get it out of bloody American. I've got to go through it and change it.
That's all right. You asked for it in UK English. And we're definitely looking at it for support. So Fresh Desk has got an AI tool called Freddy, and we think we can take some of that standard, how do I change my credit card? How do I do this? How do I do that? Type of scenario. We do have some vision to put a product specialist AI tool into the product. So Daniel, instead of the team having to learn it all the time and new people come in all the time, they can just punch in and say, I want to do a new monthly parking product, or I want to do a new booking, and it asks you a few questions and it can configure in the back end of the system. What about in your day-to-day business sort of stuff? Are you doing anything with AI there?
We're definitely looking into it. I think for us, especially with our chatbot on our website, that's probably one of the biggest things that we're looking at, how we can actually implement it onto there. Because some of the questions get asked is something as simple as, what's your height clearance? Like, if you clicked on the right thing and it says clearly there, but if people are too lazy, they'd rather just type in, what's the height clearance here? And at the moment, we're sort of just answering them as they come up on our chatbots. But those sort of things that we can take really easily, that can scrape our website automatically, it gives them the answers straight away.
Maybe we could ask them, put the QR code in and they can ask for it.
Yeah, exactly. So so there's that. There's then day-to-day, we're using probably ChatGPT a lot for analysing some of our data as well. We've probably gone, our team's using it a lot more than I am, because I'm seeing the reports and I'm asking, where's this coming from? Jesus Christ. And the first thing we always write back on an email, our ChatGPT ? And it's, you don't even have to get an answer because you know straight away that's where it's coming from. But the data that we're getting out of that, it's only as good as the data you put into it. And I think that's the biggest thing that we deal with in a lot of it. It will be more, the more you do and the more you ask and the more you keep going through it, the better and cleaner the data comes out on the other end.
What about you, Steve?
A little bit like Daniel, that I see there's two sets of data here. There's one that's our internal data, and then there's the external data. So the internal data, we need to be able to scrape that information and be able to utilise that information to share the information that we've got. And it's only as good as what you get. And, the stuff that we've been looking at and using, whether it's through ChatGPT and things like that, we've been, putting in our initial thing, getting a response back, changing it, feeding it, and it's a bit like one of those old Tamagotchis. The more you feed it, the better it gets. And we're using that as part of that. But it's the external data that we're sort of saying, well, what data do we want to actually post externally to work at how that can be used in a bigger, broader sense by the community and things like that, as we move forward with data and things like that. I even typed in here just as a check, what is the pricing for car parking near Marvel? And we weren't getting much on the external, ChatGPT for, things like that. It gave me a couple of options, but, if we're trying to move to the world of dynamic pricing and things like that to compare against competitors and events and things like that, there's still a way to go to get all the data that allows us to be able to move into that direction. So there's the internal and the external. We've still got some challenges to work out how we're going to use this.
Great. Last question from me. Start with you, Steve. But what do you see in the next 3 years will be the biggest innovation? Will it be something to do with AI, or will it be something else?
I think it'll be using AI to actually automate a lot of the information that we want to push out to the market on a regular basis. At the moment, if I need to analyse stuff, or I need to do stuff, or I want to push stuff out to the market, I can actually automate a lot of that using AI. Whether that's these are the car parks that we've got EV chargers at in the future, and these ones are available now. So pushing out messages and using information from our systems to push out to the market is probably something that I see that is going to be the next major thing. You know, car park space availability, we want to do that in real time at the moment. You know, and dynamic pricing, if we can get to that, it has to be in real time. It can't be, let me analyse that, let me check what the price is, let me check all the competitors. By that stage, we're already 2 days past where I wanted to have that pricing out and about. So I see that we're going to use AI and push that information out so it can be a lot, quicker.
Great. Daniel?
Automation is probably the biggest thing on every role. And I think that's going to be the biggest change that we're already seeing within our business. So we've been lucky enough that we've been able to automate most of our things as they've come up, because we are a new business. So everything we've been able to do from the start, and the learnings of being in bigger organisations and seeing a lot of the shortcomings, we've been able to automate as we go. But there's still a lot more, and in the next 3 to 5 years, I think our job roles are going to be very different. It's not going to be your operations manager that's worrying about actually fixing the boom gate. It's going to be more analysing the data from the boom gates and then sending the technician out, and from that side of it, or where the AI then comes into it, is it's telling you that this needs to be done on this day because this is how many times it's happened, and from there. So I really see, especially in the parking industry, that automation involved with AI and it involved with the operators is actually getting smarter, faster and easier to do, hopefully. I know we're all in parking in some way or another, and everyone on the outside thinks parking's easy, gate goes up, gate goes down, but all the stuff behind the scenes is very, very niche as to what we do. So I think there's going to be lots from that side of it, especially bringing in some of the security presence from the AI, from the automations, using that data and the analytics from CCTV and bringing that into a car parking sense. There's going to be a lot more automation around that to make it better for our end consumers. That at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to make it easier for.
Great.